my house, man.
You saying get out, Daddy, but you're not even telling me a real reason.
Man, what is this?
I get up every morning, I go to work. I pay my half the bills. Every month I go half with you on the bills. Everything paid. What's the reason? Look at this. I come home and you packing my stuff for what?
Yeah,
you going through my drawers, you in my room.
What are you doing?
You tell me why.
What are you doing?
What do you mean what I'm doing? What you mean?
Why are you recording me?
Because I want the people to see how I'm being treated.
You're
not telling me the reason. You're not telling me the reason though. You can't be really telling me. You can't be really telling me the reason though. Tell me the reason why you put me out. You keep saying the company I keep. Yeah. I got the same two friends I've been having.
Yeah, but they're running through my house. You're coming in.
What's the reason though?
What's the? You don't care about it.
Is it because I'm not a basketball player? Is it because I'm not a football player, Daddy? I didn't make you proud. Like, come on. Like, look at this. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Look how you treated me though.
You're talking about under my roof. You're a disgrace to the family. You're disrespectful to me.
What you mean?
You're not what I've been raising, what I used to be raising. You're a whole nother person.
What are you talking about? It's the surprise. You don't have to touch my stuff.
I'm very shocked.
You don't have to touch my stuff. You ain't even telling me the reason though. I want you to be real. You say you're a man. Be real and tell me why you put me out.
Right now?
I do. I go half with you on the bills. I go half with you on the bills. What's the reason?
I need you out of here.
You're not telling me the reason.
Get out of here, man.
What's the reason though?
Or is there a ride? Is there a lift? Is there a
I'm not going nowhere till you tell me a valid reason why you put me out.
I'm going to make a call.
You don't have to keep touching my stuff. You don't have to keep touching my stuff.
Can you get those things out of here?
Tell me the reason. Don't throw my stuff on the floor. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Get out of here.
Don't do that. Now you're doing too much. You're doing too much. You're not telling me the reason though.
I'll get you out of here. You're gonna get
if I have to leave, I need my half of the bill.
If
I have to leave, I need my half of the bill. You're not telling me that.
Turn it off.
You
know why?
Tell me the reason.
Don't put that on.
What's the reason?
You're the reason.
Half my stuff all over the floor. You ain't even like, what's the reason?
Get this out of here. Get this out of here, man.
You don't have to touch my stuff. You don't have to kick my stuff. You don't. I can get my own stuff. You don't have to do that.
That's right, man.
You're not telling me the reason though. What's the reason?
I need you out of here.
What's the reason? Why are you putting me out? You in my room, you invading my privacy, you going through my drawer, you taking out my clothes.
No privacy.
You throwing them all over the floor, you putting them in back up.
What about the family privacy? What about our privacy?
Why you keep bringing the family up? This between me and you. I just want you to know, I just want you to address the issue. What's really the issue? I never disrespect you. I never disrespect you.
You're disrespecting me now.
How?
You're putting people in our business, you're recording me. Get out of my house, man.
I want people to see how I'm being treated all of a sudden. All of a sudden. I guess it was a surprise. I guess it was a shock into the family. I guess that's what it was. That's what it was. Well, just be real and tell me the reason, though. You're not telling me anything. You're not telling me nothing. You don't have to keep touching my stuff. Get out of here. I can get my own stuff. You don't have to touch my stuff.
I need you out of here. Get your things out of here, man.
You know what? I'm gonna get somebody to come get me. I'm gonna call me a lift or something. I got it. Don't touch my stuff.
Let's go.
Don't touch. This is ridiculous. I don't have to be treated like this. You know what? You're so stupid and closed-minded. You're so stupid and closed-minded. You're closed-minded. You're closed-minded. Like, this is dumb. You're stupid. I'm gone.
Get out of here, man.
All right, so we all know what this is about. But like they say, what's understood does not need explanation. So let's go back and we'll break down every issue so we can see exactly what this is about. Okay, family? Now, let's go.
Get out of my house, man.
You saying get out, Daddy, but you're not even telling me a real reason.
Man, what is this?
I get up every morning, I go to work. I pay my half the bills. Every month I go half with you on the bills. Everything paid. What's the reason?
All right, so he's protesting here. He's saying, you saying get out, Daddy, but you're not giving me a real reason. So he's giving him reasons, but not a real reason. But then he goes into saying, hey, I'm paying my bills. I'm doing my part. So what's the reason? So he obviously feels like he shouldn't be being put out. And you got to understand how he feels, okay? With no warning, he's being put out. Just imagine walking into the door and someone's packing your things. No, imagine it being your parents packing your things, okay? Telling you got to go. Now, you may not have much in savings. You definitely don't know where you're going to go. You don't have a plan because you don't expect this, right? Imagine how you would feel. So I would say, number one, why are you on the live? Why is this a public matter, okay? But I have to try and understand, maybe he feels ambushed, feels ostracized, feels like no one hears him because it's his parents who's putting him out all of a sudden like this, and he doesn't know where he's gonna go. All right, but you should not go live, but I can kind of understand why he would do that, okay? But let's continue.
Look at this. I come home and you packing my stuff for what? You going through my drawers, you in my room.
What are you doing?
You tell me why.
What are you doing?
What do you mean what I'm doing? What you mean?
Why are you recording me?
Because I want the people to see how I'm being treated.
So the father just noticed he's recorded. So the son didn't say, hey, daddy, I'm going live because this is crazy. Didn't say anything. Just, I'm going to record you right now, just in the raw, right? So the father looks up and notices, like, what are you doing? What do you mean what I'm doing? What you mean what I'm doing? What are you doing? You're recording. And the son says, I'm recording because I want the people to see how you're doing me. In other words, I feel like you're doing me wrong, right? I don't know where else to go. I mean, you're my mother and father. You're my father, right? I don't know anywhere else to go to. So I understand where he's coming from, but you got to understand this. At the same time, you're also putting your father on display, who's from a totally different time frame. The way he was raised to think and believe, he's actually not as responsible for that as you may think. Yeah, it may hurt you, it may strongly affect you, but you have to understand the way you're living is affecting him. It definitely is hurting him. You understand? And you gotta, if you want an understanding, you have to also try and have an understanding of this. And if you put him on a spot like that in the moment, he may say something that can ruin his life, ruin his career. If he has his own business, it could ruin his business, ruin his reputation, hurt his way to get resources, severely damage the family. So out of respect for your father, turn the camera off and have the conversation with him. I know it's a difficult moment, but you're a man. And as a man, you got to learn to address these issues. Now, your father, at this point, he's wrong because he's packing your things without even telling you anything, man. Now, we're going to uncover more as the video goes on as to why he may do that. But he has to understand how you feel in this moment, coming in and seeing all your stuff packed. Maybe he wanted to get you packed up before you came home, but he has to understand how that may make you feel. And that's got to be devastating. And what should have happened is therapy. You both should have gotten therapy together as a family, so you guys can understand how to cope with the lifestyle that you want to live, so you can understand how they feel while you're trying to express yourself. It's important to understand how they feel too, because the world is not just about you. While you're fighting for your humanity, you have to understand they're human too, right? And you got to understand their worldview and their religious views and all these things before you just do anything and expect them to accept you. You understand? I know it hurts to consider that they wouldn't accept you off of a philosophical difference, religious difference, sexual preference or whatnot. But, you know, and you're saying these are my parents, it shouldn't matter. I understand the idea. I understand it totally. But you do not understand what it feels like to raise a child with a certain perspective and a certain expectation and to have it crushed like that. And in ways that you've been taught was wrong, in ways you've been taught was negative, okay? Things that were frowned upon are now acceptable. And so now, because the parents are not as progressive as they probably should be, it's turning out for the worst. But let's continue, family.
You're not telling me the reason. You're not telling me the reason, though. You can't be real to tell me. You can't be real to tell me the reason, though. Tell me the reason why you put me out. You keep saying the company I keep. I got the same two brothers I've been having.
Yeah, but they're running through my house. You're coming in.
What's the reason, though?
Time of the night.
What's the?
You don't care.
Okay, so he says, you keep giving me these reasons. You're telling me that this is the company I keep. The father begins to say, well, you coming in and out of the house at all hours of the night. The son jumps in front of the camera and keeps saying, but what's the reason? What's the reason? He's telling you the reasons. He's trying to tell you, and you're not listening to the reasons. You understand? You're over talking him. You're not actually trying to hear what he has to say. You understand? So that's a problem. All right. So number one, you're not hearing his reasons and responding adequately. You're trying to get him to say a reason that he hasn't yet said, that he probably should have said, but he hasn't said it yet. And you understand it's difficult for him. And he's on live though. So you have to understand why you're even making it more difficult for him to have this conversation with you. All right. But let's continue.
Is it because I'm not a basketball player? Is it because I'm not a football player, Daddy? I didn't make you proud? Like, come on. Like, look at this. This is ridiculous. Look.
Okay, so while he may be trying to direct his father into saying something that he probably should have said already so they could work through it, he is deflecting because his father has given him reasons. But instead, he's saying these other things instead of responding to the reasons that his father has given. If he would respond to his reason that his father has given, whether or not his father says a thing that he wants his father to say, which is obviously the elephant in the room, he could still respectfully pack his things. I would rather pack the rest of my things if I can do that, and I will leave. And I'll do, just out of respect, I will leave. Hopefully we can work through this and I can come back, but I can see you want me out. I can see you want me out, and I will leave. This is the way this could be handled, right? Maybe the father could have said, son, listen, I shouldn't have started packing. You packing your things like this. I apologize for how this makes you feel. I'll tell you what, can we just talk about it? I'll stop packing your things. Can we talk about it? Can you turn the camera off? This is two people trying to reason with each other instead of two people just trying to be heard. But we have to consider each other in these moments. And in these moments, we mostly only consider ourselves. All right? So let's continue, though.
Look at this. Look how you treating me, though.
You're talking back under my roof. You're a disgrace to the family. You're disrespectful to me.
What you mean?
You're not what I've been raising, what I used to be raising. You're a whole nother person.
What are you talking about? It's the surprise. It's the, you know.
Okay, so he just said it. He just said it. And so his son is being very passive aggressive here by not acknowledging what he's saying. In that moment, if I'm the son, I'd say, wow. Okay, let me get off live. Let me get off live so we can talk. Because this is not a conversation for live, man. It's not. Okay? But here he did say it. And this should have been covered, man. Y'all should have got therapy over this. If he brings those friends in and out of the house, who knows what they're doing in there? I can only imagine what that'd be like to hear that. You can't ask somebody to understand to this degree. I mean, you got these eyelashes on that's damn near look like 2 inches long. You have lipstick on, and you sitting here looking at the man saying, what's the problem? What I do? Like, yo, we both know. Like, if I'm the father, I'm thinking, yo, we both clearly know. Why you trying to make me say it? So he tells him you disrespecting the family. Now, think about this now. Shouldn't the son care about the father, his reputation, the families, and how they feel about this? I understand freedom of expression, but if you truly understand what it feels like to embarrass or disrespect your parents by just a way of life, and you can live that life, you know, out of the glaring public by being so flamboyant, why not try to, in respect of your parents? If you know it's hard for them to accept, they're not choosing to outcast you. They're not choosing to do that. You got to understand it hurts them. If you don't have children already, you got to understand it hurts them. So you're not trying to understand them because you're moving them faster than they can go.
I'm very shocked.
You don't have to touch my stuff.
Very
You ain't
shocked.
even telling me the reason though. I want you to be real. You say you're a man, be real and tell me why you put me out.
Right now?
I do. I go half with you on the bills.
And see, now he's provoking his father by saying, you say you a man, do this and do this and do that. You sitting here trying to put me out. I go half on the bills. You already made that known. He's made it known. He wants you to leave. He had said why. Whether or not you respect his reasons, that's a whole different story. But you do have to leave at this point. Whether or not you feel he's wrong for it, you have to leave at this point. You understand? But you're trying to handle this whole situation on live. This is only making it worse. And you can see the father saying it, man, you're on live, you're on live. This is not making it any easier. If there was any way you could stay into the home, you're probably blowing that by being on live. You know, I know you're probably thinking this is like a safe haven. It's a place I can go to and maybe get some answers in this moment or get some help in this moment, get somebody to see what's happening to me in this moment. But that's not going to help. It's only going to make it worse, I'm telling you. But let's continue.
I go half with you on the bills. What's the reason?
I need you out of here.
You're not telling me the reason.
Get out of here, man.
What's the reason though?
Or is there a ride? Is there a lift? Is there a
I'm not going nowhere till you tell me a valid reason why you
First,
put me
I'm
out.
going to make a call.
You don't
man.
have to
Somebody
keep
gotta
touching
come
my
and get
stuff. You
man.
don't have to keep touching my stuff.
Can you get those things out of here?
Tell me the reason. Don't throw my stuff on the floor. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Get out of
Don't
here.
do that. Now you're doing
Get
too
out
much.
of here.
You're doing too much. You're not telling me the reason though.
I'll get you out of here. You're gonna get
If I have to leave, I need my half of the
If I
bills.
gotta drain it
If
out
I have to
myself.
leave, I need my half of the bills. You're not telling me that.
Turn it off.
Now, if I have to leave, give me my half of the bills. That should be understood. Okay, as a father, you know you're putting him out all of a sudden, right? So in that moment, I would just hear him. I'd say, okay, you know what? Definitely. Not only will I give you that back, I'll give you a little extra because I want you to be on your feet. I don't want you in a bad situation, but this is an uncomfortable situation for me. And just so you know, I love you. This has nothing to do with my love for you. It's my ability to be able to accept or to tolerate what I'm seeing. You understand? You have to understand why this is difficult for me as your father. I understand you want your freedom to express yourself, but you're not taking into consideration how I feel at all, okay? So at that moment, I would try and discuss that part with him, because you're not going to put him out in a worse situation, right? Because of a philosophical difference. And I'm telling you, parents, we gotta really work on not being lost in our ego to where we want to, excommunicate our children over things like this. I can see if they do something that could really cause damage in the family, like, little nieces and nephews and things happening to the children. I could definitely understand excommunication of things like that, but over religious beliefs and sexualities, I really think that those things are not going to be important 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. We're living in our ego and how we feel about it. You understand? And so, anyway, I'll continue.
You know why?
Why? Tell me the
Don't
reason.
put that on
What's
me,
the reason?
You're the reason.
Half my stuff all over the floor. You ain't even like, what's the reason?
How is it he still don't know the reason? He just said, you're the reason. Man, try and understand the man. I know you understand him. Why do you need him to be more direct than that? Is that you needing him to say this on camera? That I hope that's not what you're doing. I hope that's not what you're doing, but I just don't see any way that you don't understand what this man is trying to say to you. But let's continue.
Here, get this out of here, man.
You don't have to touch my stuff. You don't have to kick my stuff. You don't. I can get my own stuff. You don't have to do that.
That's right, man.
You're not telling me the reason, though. What's the reason?
I need you out of here.
What's the reason? Why are you putting me out? You in my room. You invading my privacy. You going through my drawer. You taking out my clothes.
No privacy.
You throwing them all over the floor.
No.
You putting them in back. Come on.
What about the family privacy? What about our privacy?
Why you keep bringing the family up? This between me and you.
Okay, so what about our privacy? What about the family's privacy? So that tells me that he must have just came out and he probably did it online and everybody's embarrassed by it. But let's continue.
I just want you to know, I just want you to address the issue. What's really the issue? I never disrespect you. I never disrespect you.
You disrespecting me now.
How?
You're putting people in our business. You're recording me. Get out of my house, man.
I want people to see how I'm being treated all of a sudden. All of a sudden.
So his father just told him again, you disrespected me. You putting this business out there. You putting me on camera. And again, the son deflects and goes, but I want people to see how you're treating me. But so you're ignoring what the father is saying to you, that you're disrespecting me by making this public, by making our life public, by putting your business on social media. Like if it was a thing that was enclosed, maybe he could accept it a little better at this moment. But right now he's enraged, he's upset because he feels embarrassed, he feels humiliated. Right or wrong, you have to understand how he feels. You understand? Let's go.
I guess it was a surprise. I guess it was a shock into the family. I guess that's what it was. That's what it was.
So he just validated by saying, I guess it was a shock to the family. I guess it was all of this and that. But he's really downplaying it by saying that, but he does acknowledge it. So I take it that he just came out, okay? And so everybody's embarrassed by it. And it's got to be a rough way to find out coming home to your stuff being packed. So I'm understanding how he feels. His heart is probably broken, but you have to listen to the reasons and try your best to stay calm, because yelling in this moment, going live at this moment, none of these things are going to help the situation. They're only going to make it worse. But let's continue.
And tell me the reason, though. You're not telling me anything. You're not telling me nothing. You don't have to keep touching my stuff. Get out of here. I can get my own stuff. You don't have to touch my stuff.
I need you out of here. Get your out of here, man.
You know what? I'm gonna get somebody to come get me. I'm gonna call me a lip or something. I got it. Don't touch my stuff.
Let's go.
Don't touch. This is ridiculous. I don't have to be treated like this. You know what? You're so stupid and closed-minded. You're so stupid and closed-minded. You're closed-minded. You're closed-minded. Like this is dumb. It's stupid. I'm gone.
Out of here, man.
So as you can see, the communication is just terrible. Whenever they can't agree, the son starts calling his father stupid and closed-minded. These are things you can't really, like these things happen whenever you can't emotionally have a disagreement with someone and just leave well enough alone. Okay, you don't see it the way I see it. Okay, cool, but what's the verdict? Okay, they don't have to be stupid. They don't have to be closed-minded or a lot of different things because they disagree with you. You understand? Now I understand that it hurts. We gotta understand that. But It's not going to help the situation by telling him he's stupid and closed-minded, right? Not whenever he's sitting here feeling disrespected by you going online and making your life public, and now he's worried about how people sees him and whether or not they'll look at him differently, or he sees himself differently, feels like he raised you wrong, whatever the case may be. You should try at that moment to try and grasp your guides, your parents' mind frame and see through their eyes. You know, I encourage parents to try and see through your child's eyes too. They are fighting to be understood. Try your best to try to give as much understanding as you possibly can. Always try and be as open-minded as you can, because the new generation, they just are doing different things. And we don't want to live so much in our ego that we're excommunicating our children for difference of beliefs, worldview, lifestyle, things like that. Because in a tribe, first of all, we got to remember everyone must produce, right? And that was detrimental. So getting rid of a tribal member, it wasn't something that we would easily do. We would all be affected by that. And because we have this matrix, it's like we feel like we got this system we can depend on, and it causes us to really be fragile in our family dynamics and our home and structure. And so we really got to start thinking about the lineage more so than the things you agree or disagree on today philosophically. Yo, that stuff holds very little weight. Those ideas hold very little weight whenever you in that box, man. I'm serious. What's gonna matter is how much you guys could work together and keep it all in the family and create something that your family can share for generations, right? Let's stop destroying our heritage over differences of worldview, man. Like, it's ideas and thoughts, and I understand that ideas and thoughts lead to a different expression of a person, their lifestyle, whatever that may be, and that's what we're really talking about, how it makes us feel. But in that moment, man, we have to think as men, are we choosing ourselves, our own emotions over our children in that moment? Yeah, they come to us and they say something that really challenges. Okay. It makes us feel uncomfortable. What are we gonna do? Like, change them? I mean, we can't. You have to understand them. Then we have expectations on our children, we do. And we have to understand those are just expectations. You know, when I first met my children, day one, I told them I loved them as much as I'll ever love them. And this day forward, I'm just getting to know them, right? And in getting to know them, you have to try and accept them, guide them the best you can, but try your best to understand the souls that they are. You understand? Let's not be so invested in the flesh that we try and control, right? You understand, family? It is your legacy, and you don't want him to go out and hurt himself. You know, you tell him he's a disgrace, he ain't got nowhere to go, all of a sudden, and it's because of his lifestyle. Inherently, a lot of people who struggle in that area feel like something's wrong with them, and they feel like no one will accept them. And that's the last feelings you want to put upon him, man. So I get how you feel, but you didn't handle that in the best way either. So this is a very sad video, man. I saw people making this video and laughing at it. It is not a laughing matter at all. Love to the family. I really hope you guys have resolved this issue or can resolve this issue. That's all, family. Peace.